Hey, it's Russ and Lauren here on the Infectious Groove Music Channel. It is Vinyl Sunday, and the band Pink Floyd is no stranger to this channel. I've reviewed so many different Floyd records over time.
He kind of likes them.
Yeah, I do. I like me some Pink Floyd. And it's funny because the channel over time has gone through the thing where I sold all my records. And then in that video, I said someday we're going to rebuild. And I think I would imagine somewhere along the line, I mentioned that. Well, I know that I mentioned on the channel I'm not going to go as buck wild with vinyl as I did before, but I've said that there was a very few artists that I'm going to make sure to collect all of their records. Again, Pink Floyd is one of them. One thing that's awesome about Pink Floyd LPs these days is when I first started collecting vinyl back in like the late 2008, 2009, other than Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall or Animals, it was pretty hard to come across like good sounding copies of Floyd stuff.
Okay.
And then around like 2011 or 12, there was like some reissues that happened that were okay at best. Like at best. I suffered through years. I had a 2012 pressing of The Wall that was just awful. And then around 2016, they reissued the entirety of Pink Floyd's catalog. I mean, like everything from Piper all the way through, like things I never thought the original version of Pulse would get reissued with, like the full hardcover book and the 4 LPs and all that stuff, everything. They even reissued Delicate Sound of Thunder, and then they made as the 2 LP that we all know and the superior version, and then they reissued that as a terrible 3 LP version and everything. So like there's just a ton of stuff out there.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, especially for someone like me who just loves, like literally loves everything Floyd's ever done. Now, pre-Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd stuff ran the gamut for before these reissues. If you found, like, I won't say where, but in Detroit, I very famously found a copy of an original pressing of Obscured by Clouds one time that just had looked like it had been ice skated on. And it was like $35, because again, you don't find this stuff at the time. And then if there were reissues, they were like sketchy from other countries. So all of this is to say that rebuilding my vinyl collection now, I'm not in need of going to look for 100 different pressings and all that stuff, because all those 2016 pressings are so good.
Cool.
So we're taking a look at Obscured by Clouds today. Which up till this point, I had only ever heard, who knows, second or third string pressings from, 71, 72, something like that. Right out of the gate, one of the things we always talk about is packaging. And this is going to sound so minor, and we're going to put pictures up of it. But every reissue of Obscured by Clouds, even from the 70s, all came in a regular square LP jacket. And the original wasn't like that. It had rounded corners and they were cut open. And like, that always kind of bugged me with the pressing of Obscured by Clouds that I had. Like, it sounded fantastic, but I was always like, those corners aren't right. Right. So with the reissue, they did it.
Yay.
Like, yeah, it looks like, I know that some people are going to watch this and be like, why is he so excited about rounded corners? But that's how the original pressing looked, and it's got the, and you would look this up to the, how the album came about. It was originally supposed to be a soundtrack for a movie, and then it got, there's a hype sticker on it that is like, this is a soundtrack from this movie, even though it's not really,
Yeah,
like,
it's a wild story. I love it.
Yeah. And so if you get a chance, look that up, like the story behind this record and how it was recorded and what it was recorded for.
Super fun rabbit hole for me.
Yeah, it was fun. Sound quality, again, I kind of went at this real hard at the beginning of the video. These 2016 pressings, should be any record store you walk into now or online order, these should be the ones that are available. It sounds so good. It's so good. It's clean, very quiet vinyl. Obscured by Clouds, I think was, it's the last record that they recorded right before the Dark Side of the Moon. So like everybody knew their way around what they were doing with recording, obviously. And the audio quality of the vinyl in the first place is great. And then the production on this record, we don't do a lot of reviewing of the actual album, usually, but there are things like this, the song "What's the Deal" I played for you. And I was like, can you believe this, acoustic guitar was recorded before either of us were born, and you were like, wait, yeah, wow. Cause like, I know acoustic guitars that were recorded in the last 5 years that don't sound as good as that, So I think the sound is absolutely, and for you, you're new to this album. I think maybe I'd played like 1 or 2 songs for you before, but what did you think about the overall sound quality of it?
I mean, it was an experience, and like knowing the time context that I have of it, like it was definitely like, oh, this is what Pink Floyd would sound like just before the Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, yeah.
And like the experience of hearing it, on this reissue, I was like, yep, okay, I understand.
And I always tell people that, especially from Saucer Full Secrets through Obscured by Clouds, you can hear Pink Floyd becoming the band good enough to make Dark Side of the Moon. And that's one of the reasons why I'm fascinated by pre-Dark Side of the Moon material. You can hear them being like just a little bit closer, and then boom, Dark Side of the Moon, right? As far as the price and value, you're going to find this anywhere between 25 and 35. Most of the time I've seen it leaning towards 35, 30, 35. I think it's worth every penny. I think the value is there. So what I try and do in these videos is kind of put a twist on for either of us. Like, for example, you're a Pink Floyd fan, but you're not overly familiar. Like, there's still a ton of pre-Dark Side of the Moon stuff you haven't heard yet. Now, having heard this, would there be value in it for you? Would you go, oh, I would pay $30 or $35 to own that record?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. I mean, again, I feel like I just haven't really given it enough time. But pre Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, it's probably 1,000% up my alley. So yes.
Yeah, especially the first two records would be definitely up your alley. The value for me is this, and this is why I kind of went so heavy-handed at it at the start. Unless you are obsessed with having an original like 70s pressing of Obscured by Clouds for whatever reason, which no judgment, like I get that if you're, if that's your thing, just buy this. Like, and this comes from a person who's previously had all original Pink Floyd stuff. It sounds amazing. I would say this sounds as good or better than any pressing I've ever heard. And I've heard Obscured by Clouds, in Amoeba, Los Angeles, an original first string pressing on a $5,000 turntable. I'm telling you, this sounds fantastic. So for me, the value is definitely there. So that was our little look at the Pink Floyd reissue of Obscured by Clouds. We have more Pink Floyd stuff coming on the channel, if you can believe it. I will continue. We have a ton of older Pink Floyd videos on the channel as well. So if there's anything rare that you're looking for, even though I don't own them anymore, they're all on the channel. Echoes and original pressings of all this stuff, that's all here on the channel. So take a look for it. If you're a Pink Floyd fan, you're in any sort of Pink Floyd group on Facebook, it would help us if you would share our video in there. Any vinyl groups on Facebook. If nothing else, dropping a like on the video helps. Drop a comment. Maybe tell Lauren what album to listen to next from Pre-Dark Side of the Moon. See what she thinks about that. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.